Let's go. Let's go. Good guys taking care of business. You love to see it. You love to see it. Obviously, we're going to be reacting to this nice victory by the guys, man. Steelers obviously taking care of business 18-10 on the road, man. And a lot to unpack with this game, man. Clearly, we had chaos on the front end before the game even starts. Obviously, in terms of it switching from Russ to Justin Fields overnight, we had new money in terms of Pat Freiermuth getting a deal done right on the brink of the season starting. But took care of business today, man. And that's what we ultimately needed to do. So like I said, man, we got plenty that we're going to discuss, man. But on the front end, you already know how we do this thing when we started off. Hit that like button one time for the culture. And of course, you got to subscribe, but drop it in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from, man. Like I said, definitely got to talk about this one right here, baby. Going on the road. Down in the ATL, Georgia. Yes, sir. Shout out to Z-Man in the 603, Durham, New Hampshire. Okay, I see you, Mike Hood in the 614, Columbus. Brad Gray in the 714, Southern California. Kid Evans in the MIA. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to Tyreek Hill, too. Get arrested and still go out there and ball out, do what needs to be done for them boys to get a dub today. Insane. The Don Hefe Quan in the 323, Watts, California. Thad C in the 502, The Ville. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Tito Good Vibe, always showing love in the 817, Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out to Texas in the building. Zach Straight in the 585, Rochester, New York. Shout out to Rochester. Saw a team up there take care of business too, man. Go Bills. All right. Javon Kinley in the 412. Salute to you. And X Concepts in the 724. Got to shout out to Claridge, PA. Falcons couldn't win a rigged game for them. Hey, man, you talking that talk because it was some questionable calls going on out there, of course. But if your team is right, you overcome all of the nonsense, man, and find a way to win. So I definitely like what I saw there. Let's see, man. Shout out to Pablo 23 in the 539, Hamburg, Germany. Hey, man, major love to you, baby. Yes, sir. All right, Manny _ fresh in the 702, Vegas. Shout out to Vegas. And I'm going to end it with the homie Jay Lace in the 985 out of Louisiana. Love it. Like I said, definitely appreciate all of y'all being with me today, man. Like I said, it's the first regular season game for us this season. And like I said, you got to go through all of the highs and lows with it. Let's start this thing off the right way. I felt like as a whole, we started out a little bit slow. Okay. Could we have been better offensively at the beginning? Yes. But when you think into the context of what was actually taking place to start the game, it made sense why we were a little bit out of rhythm, right? Prior to the game, we're thinking it's going to be Russ. I mean, we saw him pop up on the injury report. I think it was, Thursday after practice or Friday after practice. And then it was just this little, all right, is it serious or is it not serious? Who knows? But, he's going to be out there. Ultimately, man, does not happen. So we got to get Justin Fields. Man, but to me, man, I thought early on, once we got past the QB center exchange situation that was taking place, I thought we saw a little bit more of a rhythm start to happen. I thought that we started to see the offense open up a little bit more. I thought the best start or the best drive was right before the half, man. We get that nice fake run play to throw it back across the field, deep pass to my man GP. Thought it was an excellent call by Arthur Smith. GP got lucky in terms of stepping out of bounds. The situational awareness we definitely got to get better with, but just to see that type of aggressiveness, that type of call at that moment, I thought, okay, we're starting to see a little bit more, comfort showing up. But then after that, it was drive, get the points. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially for an opening game. Thought Naji was running the ball extremely well. O-line did a good job in terms of providing him some holes. But I also thought the added element of, utilizing Justin Fields' legs, which we saw at times in the preseason, but not as intentional as it was today. I thought that was a big thing that Arthur Smith brought to the table. So shout out to Arthur Smith in terms of finding ways to highlight his players' abilities. Multiple times he got it to GP down the grass, even designing certain concepts for GP to get a little bit more free down the grass, man. Like I said, that one play before the end of the half where you get Fields toss action or QB run action and then stops, throws it across his body. GP giving you that almost overroute type body language because that's the route that he had already won one against AJ Terrell. But now he breaks it off into the cell concept, and now you get an explosive play out of that. GP, I thought, man, was balling today. I mean, let's be real about it. He was going against AJ Terrell, who's a really good cornerback, man, in his own regard. Second contract guy, high pedigree guy. But you think about what GP was able to do, multiple explosive catches against him, should have had 3 of them. But we know one, obviously, got called back for OPI. We're not tripping on it. Ticky-tack, sure. As a defender, I like the call. As a Steeler, I'm like, nah, man, I think that's a weak call. So I get it both ways. But when you think about what GP was able to do against a nice corner in this league, 33-plus yard, 41-plus yard, those are explosive games. That's wide receiver 1. That's what you need to see on a week in and week out basis. If you're not going to give me all the route stuff, that's fine. Give me these, though. These are the explosives, and I thought that was critical in the sense of us being able to flip the field at times because it was more of a field position game, but it also put us in position to get some of these excellent field goals from the homie Boz, who, by the way, when you go 6 for 6 and you give us the elite clutch punt for 43 yards, oh my goodness. I mean, my dude gave me 18 points. He was absolute money. 57, 51, 56, 44, 40, and then he hit you with the layup. Finger roll for 25. Shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie Boz, man. I thought that he was phenomenal, man. That's what we need. That's all we pay the man what we pay him because he gets us out of stadiums when we need him. So like I said, I definitely like that with the homie Boz right there, man. I don't think, man, of all the field goals, of all the stuff, man, that punt, that was the one that had me just the most on my seat. Like, I know you can hit from 50. I know you do this, Boz. But this punt situation, like, whoo, what is this going to be, man? But shout out to Boz. Like I said, man, taking care of business, man, being a pro. Or not a pro, being a professional. Shout out to the homie, man. Shout out to the homie. If y'all digging the convo thus far too, man, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture. And if you're new to the family, make sure you subscribe as well, man. After every single game, man, home or away, we get up here. We're going to talk a little bit, have our, live conversation. I get my thoughts on the front end. Then after that, man, we're going to obviously tap into the chat, to the congregation for the Q&A element of it, man. So salute to all of y'all that are rocking with me tonight, baby. On this here Victory Sunday. Don't it feel good to get a win? Not everybody won today. Just remember that. There's a lot of people that's sick right now with the bitter beer face. They going home like, oh, my goodness, man, we almost had a yada. Yeah, man, we over here sitting pretty feeling good. All right, so shout out to all the winners, man. Remember that. Winners win, okay? Now I can woo. Let me check my fantasy. Can I check my fantasy squad real quick? How y'all fantasy teams out there doing? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Let me check my fantasy squad real quick. Oh yeah, we looking kind of nice right now. All right. Okay. A little bittersweet right here, but I like it. Shout out. So even my fantasy squad's up right now. You see what I'm on, man? Okay? It's looking good, man. Looking good right now. Shout out. That's what we need though, man. But can I talk about this defense? No, actually, before I get to the defense, let me finish talking about the offense. Because, like I said, I felt like, they were the ones that I needed a little bit from, and they gave me a little bit today. Obviously, it wasn't the best, but, man, it was good. O-line, I thought they did what they were supposed to do up front, man. Running downs, they provided space for the homie Naji. They provided space for Jalen Warren. They provided space enough for Justin Fields when we were trying to run some of his designed runs. At the same time, we know we had a rookie center. We had not a rookie, but a first year opportunity to start Spencer Anderson, obviously starting in place of Isaac Malu, who was hurt. Broderick Jones at the right tackle spot, another young guy. So you knew there were going to be certain instances where, it could be a little wacky at times. But I thought as a whole, they did a good job, man. I thought that pass protection, outside of the Grady Jarrett, I think he had the 1 sack, and I think he had a QB hit, and then Matthew Judon had his sack. outside of that, I thought that Fields pretty much had good time in the pocket, but at the same time, it wasn't, I don't feel like the design today was for it to be very robust and taking a lot of shots downfield. It was supposed to be like what we kind of saw. Do more of the game management, keep the ball, kill the clock, and ultimately let's get out of the stadium with a victory, man. And we were able to do that. We didn't make the turnovers. Flip side is what? Defensively, be the stars. TJ Watt looked like the defensive player of the year. I think he checked that box off. Shout out to the homie TJ Watt, right? Should have broke the sack record today, or not broke the sack. Should have got over 100 career sacks today. We know what it is, but it's all good. Let's see. My man, though, game-ending or game-winning sack, shout out, had the strip sack that was called back. Shout out to the illegal hands. Had the other strip sack, form of recovery that was called back, but he didn't, he still did his thing, though. He still did his thing. He was still balling across the board, man. But it's like, this dude just keeps burst run tackle for loss. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The way that he impacts the game, the way that he takes over games, that's why it doesn't matter always who's on the back end. It's like, we got TJ up front, bro. TJ is going to get you out of the stadium. TJ is going to account for a lot of production. And it showed once again today, man. I got the Cowboys and Browns game on right now because I want to see if Myles Garrett or Michael Parsons is going to be matching any of that TJ Watt smoke, all right? They can say what they want, but the eyes are on them, all right? Because TJ was hooping today. Even with the callback penalties, he was hooping today. And he still got him a fumble recovery. Of course he's going to get the turnover. It's TJ Watt, of course he got the turnover. Come on, man. Y'all know this. Shout out, man. Shout out. Love it, love it, love it, man. But shout out to the new additions on defense as well, right? Dante Jackson had the game sealing. I thought it was the game sealing pick. Obviously, we know TJ ended it all with the sack at the end on that last little 30 seconds. But Dante Jackson, man, heck of a debut, right? Got the pick. Should have had two. The other one he dropped, but a PBU either way. And I thought that he made some timely plays, man, on defense, man, getting his hands on the football and just ultimately looking good over there, man. I know that not everybody was familiar with his game. Not everybody felt as confident in him, but I thought for him to come out here and actually show that, yeah, even though last season, his first year back from an Achilles injury, he didn't have a turnover. That was the first time in his career that he hadn't had one. This is a guy that gets his hands on the football and he gets a ton of interceptions. It was just really refreshing to see that also reoccur and pop back up because he is one of those players. And like I said, if that's your second best corner on your team, yeah, you got a heck of a cornerback room, man. I thought JPJ looked good. Obviously, we know he had went out with something. We don't know what it was, but nothing seemed to be too crazy. So shout out to him for that. Thought the LBs, though, man, in terms of Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, Peyton Wilson, man, they flew around. The production was there, though, with Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen. We obviously know with Peyton Wilson, he was the sub-package linebacker. That showed early, man. They put him out there, dime nickel situations, and he was productive, flew around. Patrick Queen, very similar. I like the speed with that. But then when we needed to have that bigger body grouping out there, man, Landon Roberts could get out there and still provide that physical presence downhill. I liked what I saw from those guys right there. But once again, new additions making plays. You need to see it. You want to see that, and it did show up. DeMonte Casey reminding everybody, hey, I'm still here as well. But you also had Deshaun Elliott making a play, right? Getting the interception early on in the game. Once again, man, if we're new, if you're paid to be here, got to make some plays for us, baby. Got to make plays. The new guys did that, though. Like I said, so shout out to Deshaun Elliott, shout out to Dante Jackson, shout out to Peyton Wilson, and shout out to Patrick Queen, man. Benny Bishop also, we know he had a little blown cover situation, potentially. I'll check the film a little bit more, but just early on, I was like, yeah, I felt like that was kind of on his area. We'll see. But for me, I thought that he still, was able to come out there and make plays, man, because it's not easy starting in this league. It's not easy playing out there. And to play nickel cornerback, man, that could be very challenging. But I thought that he was also a good player out there, man, making some timely tackles. I thought he had a nice tackle on third down, get us off the field. And that's what you want, man. Everybody has to contribute, man. Everybody has to play their part. Montravius Adams, obviously getting him a nice sack, man, showing the continuation of the production that he was giving us this preseason as well. Definitely like that because he was a guy along with DeMarvin Leal and Nick Herbig who really showed out this preseason. So to see Montravius also be able to continue on with that, man, was definitely impressed with that, man. But like I said, those were kind of the ones that initially stood out to me, man. Let me think. Who Oats off the top of my head, man. I don't think I talked enough about Naji just yet. Because Naji was another one, man. Shout out to Naji. We was running like the rent was due. He said he's trying to get paid. He seen his homie Move get paid. He's like, hold on, man. It's new money out here, baby. Cam, they got a check. Okay. He said, so I ain't get the bag. All right, it's time. Thought he looked good, man. Had that nice explosive 20-yard run, man. I thought that as a whole, he was providing the passion early on offensively. I thought that for him, man, you could see he was not going to allow the energy to go down whenever they were on offense, even when it wasn't looking pretty, even when the rhythm was a little awkward. I thought that Naji continued to be that battering ram, continued to kind of be that calming presence. And that was what we needed up until we could hit a couple of pass plays. And then from there, like I said, Arthur Smith kind of settled in and everybody kind of got on the same page and we got some rhythm going. But I thought to me, man, that Naji was definitely one of those guys, man. He played really well. So shout out to the homie Naj, man. Shout out to Naj. But shout out to the offense, man. Arthur Smith, man, included. Like I said, we know it was a crazy situation, but find a way to get it done. Find a way to move the ball and get us points. And even if it was field goals, that's why we pay Boz what we pay him. There is nothing wrong with that. Play clean. Ultimately, don't turn the ball over, score, and make the opponent have to beat our defense because our defense is nice. Think about that, man. Our defense created multiple turnovers, and we should have had even more, right? Should have had even more to get called back. So that's the part for me where I'm just like, yeah, we're going to be fine because the offense is going to get better. The offense is going to get into a more of a rhythm, and then it's going to be a real problem because the way our defense is playing and what they're capable of doing, you're not going to be able to keep up and score with us like that, man. So that's what I definitely like, man. But hopefully, in terms of the injury front, I think the only injury that was, new or that popped up was obviously the punter, Cam Johnston, man. That looked bad, We'll obviously get the MRI confirmation and all that type of stuff. But, yeah, we'll be on the market for a punter. I think we'll be on the market for a punter. Shout out to Boz. Boz definitely showed that he can get you out of a stadium, but that's not what he's paid to do. He's a kicker. So we'll see, man. Low-key, I wouldn't be surprised if Presley Harvard is back. I thought he played well this preseason in San Fran, man. He did a heck of a job in San Fran. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back. I'm just throwing it out there, bro. But, yeah, we're going to see, man. But, yeah, man. Yeah, that didn't look good at all, man. And, I mean, good job by the Falcons player. Obviously, we wanted the roughing the punter call, but I thought it was an appropriate call, man, in terms of the whole. That's kind of what they teach you on punt return. They're like, if you can't get the block, but you can take your defender or the guy that's trying to block you and put him into the punter or put him in harm's way, do it. And ultimately, that was what was taking place. My man tried to obviously, pull him out the way, but, it's an unfortunate situation that Cam got hurt in the process of it, man. But we will see, man. We will see. But, yeah. Talk about some bad luck, right? Like, yeah, we finally got us one of them ones, man. We got us a punter that's like, cooking, he's consistent. It's like, no, why? But we shall see, man. We shall see. But y'all already know the drill, man. Hit that like button one last time, or not one last time. Hit that like button if y'all are digging what we talking about. And obviously, don't forget to subscribe. Let me hit some of this water. See some of these supers coming in. So we'll obviously start with you guys first, and then we'll continue to progress through this thing, man. All right. Starting it off, we got T Starf. He says, Arthur Canada. Shouts out Ice Cold Boss. Now, I don't feel like this was, Arthur Canada. I feel like Arthur Smith, man, stepped up and showed some good stuff, man. Obviously, it didn't reflect in the sense of touchdowns, and that's a big difference. But 6 field goals executed. Essentially, those are 6 scoring drives, right? Don't lose sight of scoring drives. It's hard to score in the NFL. You don't think so? Look at the Atlanta Falcons. They got a very talented offense, man, on paper, right? Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kirk Cousins. But as a whole, when you're playing against defenses and these coordinators, man, these are heck of athletes and smart guys that are out here in terms of the schematics of it. So to put your team in a position to score 6 times is a good job. That's why I don't say that's Arthur Canada, because, man, Canada had a hard time getting us in scoring position in games, let alone getting us 6 opportunities to score. That's the difference. Well, you could say, he had a 7th opportunity because we know we had that fourth down, 4th and 1 in the red zone where we get tackled on the QB sneak, right, with Justin Fields. So realistically, man, we had opportunities to score multiple, or could have scored a lot more if the execution would have been just a little bit better, in some of those red zone, high red areas. But that's a part of it. And it's the first game. So in terms of it being your first game, knew everything from his perspective. And then within 48 hours, the guy that you think is going to start at quarterback ends up not playing. So now you got to start the backup, who, even though they're similar, they're still different. Yeah, I think that, he did a really, really good job, man. Shout out to Arthur Smith, man. And if it wasn't, if I'm thinking from a professional standpoint, I just say really good because I got expectations for him. But if I'm just talking from a fandom, I'm a Steelers fan. Yeah, I'm like, you did a heck of a job because I know what Matt Canada was struggling with at times a year ago and how that made us feel for the past couple of seasons. So the fact that we were able to kind of get this Arthur Smith situation where he made sure that, number one, there were no turnovers. Number two, he highlighted Justin Fields' legs. Number three, he was able to also highlight Justin Fields' ability to still have a rocket arm and utilize certain pocket movements where it was going to allow GP to get down the grass in a vertical sense and allow Justin Fields to more so just be able to cut it loose. That to me is high level coordinating. That to me is understanding the situation, understand what your players do and finding a way to utilize that best. Also doing it with good rhythm and timing, right? Because we said anybody can call plays. I can give you the play call sheet right now. You can call them till you blue in the face, but are you going to be able to actually do it when it matters and understand situationally what you're trying to execute, how you want to get this defense into a certain look so you can call this call? That's the stuff that Arthur Smith was putting on display today. He said 6 scoring drives, man. Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that. So to me, man, I thought that even with the positivity that I just rattled off, they could still be a lot better. They could be a whole lot better, man. And when they do get better with that execution, with the timing and rhythm, now that's going to lead to more touchdowns. So now instead of it just being 18 points, that's how you start getting 24s. That's how you start getting the 30s. So don't lose sight of what was taking place out here. All right. Like I said, I know it didn't look complete today, but do not lose sight of it, man, because that was some really good stuff that was taking place from Arthur Smith's perspective, man. All right. Next up, we got the homie Mike Hood. Shout out to Mike Hood. He says, for the win, Mr. Moats. Shout out to our Steelers. Defense was really good. Shout out to the chat. And of course, thank you. Or it says, of course, shout out to me too. And he gives me the cheers with the beers. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, man. So shout out to the beers, cheers to you. You know what I mean? So I like that, baby. Mr. Malvo doesn't join in the upper room. Shout out to you and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, buddy, let's get it. I see a Donovan LaRue. He said refs were on some BS today, especially on TJ. Yeah, TJ was having a rough one, man. I'm like, can my dog please just get the sack, man? Why every time he make a play, y'all calling it back? Like multiple times, multiple impact plays. It was crazy. But at the same time, I hate to say it, I felt like both of the calls were right, though. I mean, you talk about the one with Dante Jackson. I'm like, you got my man whole face mask. He's going to get a fine for that. I'm just like, God, dog, So that part did suck. Now, I didn't like the first one in terms of the offsides as a pass rusher. I'm always going to side with the jump. I'm always going to side with TJ on that. But to me, my whole issue with that as a whole is just this ideology that the offensive lineman or the offensive tackle specifically is allowed to leave early. How many times do we watch these games and we always point out the tackles leaving early? Ball won't even be snapped. He's already in the kick step. So now when you're telling me TJ is actually perfect timing, or in a sense where the ball is flinching and TJ is ready, he already got that half second trigger. Now we want to call that off. But if that was the tackle, you let that slide every single time. That's always going to be my issue anytime they want to call TJ for jumping the snap and is that close. We've seen times where, all right, we know you're offsides. That wasn't the vibe today, man. So that was definitely one of the ones I had an issue with. But like I said, that's a whole nother argument, man. But when in doubt, man, the productive player and the better player will always prevail. And that was why it still showed up late in the game, man, when TJ was ultimately able to get the game-ending sack. So shout out to the homie, man. Javon Kenley, man, appreciate you tapping in as well. He says, where we at? It says, Boz on his Thanos. He said, fine, I'll do it myself. That's a fact. My man Boz literally was doing it all. He said, you want it from 50? All right, cool. You want 50 again? All right, cool. You want it from 50 one more? All right, cool. They said this man is the most accurate from 50 plus. All right, cool. Hit it again. Just in case y'all thought he was going to get jinxed. Don't worry about it. Shout out to the homie Boz, man. Boz definitely was balling out, man. And like I said, when we needed him to punt, he said, hey, don't panic. Don't panic. I can do that too. Shout out to the homie, man. Shout out. Hit that like button one time for the homie Boz. Don't forget to subscribe either, man. I'm with you, Jay Moods. I'm definitely with you, Jay Moods. Boz was definitely the MVP today, man. Respect on that. All right, Mike Hood. Shout out to Mike Hood. He says, best thing about it being 1-0, he says, best thing about being 1-0 is a chance to go 2-0. And that is 100% the case, baby. And yeah, we definitely get to turn that page soon. But hold on. Before we even get to that next week, we're going to make sure we enjoy the day. All right. Feels good to have a victory, man. It just feels appropriate. Start the season off, man. New pieces, doesn't matter. The one that's constant is Coach T, and the one thing that he always does is win. So it's good to see that, man. Tito, good vibes. Showing some more love with a super chat, man. Definitely appreciate you. Salute to you from the heart. Says Boz is a certified weapon. Defense was dominant and D-line was stout. Fields played okay. Need to clean up penalties and score touchdowns. Good guys win. Nah, salute to you, Tito. And I agree, man. I think you were spot on with everything that you said right there. In terms of the defense, they were dominant. They were the ones that, regardless of what was taking place offensively early in the game where we were trying to find our rhythm, find our flow, they were the ones that were not allowing Kirk Cousins in that offense to kind of get any type of rhythm either. They were forcing turnovers or forcing near turnovers, right? And then when it did kind of get weird, which was that drive right before the half for them, where Kirk was like perfect 7 for 7, they get the touchdown. I think it was Michael Pruitt on the blown coverage. They got the touchdown. It's like, all right, let's see, man, could this get weird? But once again, I thought defensively we won in the trenches. They weren't able to consistently run the ball against us. And whenever they dropped back, you could see if Kirk wasn't in rhythm and the routes kind of married his drop, they struggled. He didn't have, and we know this about Kirk, he's not the type of guy that's going to do a lot of off-scheduled, type of painting outside the lines at quarterback. If it's not on time, he's going to eat it or throw it away. He's not a guy that can create like that, and that showed up today. But defensively, man, we needed that. And then I thought in the secondary, the dudes did a good job, man, of not allowing those wide receivers or tight ends to really hurt us. Like I said, with Kyle Pitts, man, he had a couple of plays where it was explosive. We know the one big play he had got called back. So as a whole, I thought that we maintained and did a good job. Let me actually see what he finished with today also. Yeah, 3 catches for 26 yards. We'll live with that every single day of the week. Their leading receiver is Ray McCloud. Shout out to Ray McCloud. 4 catches for 52 yards. We'll live with that, man. We'll live with that every single day. And then for Bijan Robinson, he also had 18 carries for 68 yards. I mean, it's Bijan. Of course, he could get over 100 total. But it was good. Like I said, but as a whole, we kept a good player at bay. We didn't allow a ton of explosive plays out there. And that's what we needed. And then on the flip side, we had the explosives. We had the longest run of the game. Naji Harris with a 20-yarder. We also had Justin Fields giving you a 12-yarder. So those are explosives. We know we had the more explosive pass plays in the game as well. We talked about with GP, the 40-plus, the 30-plus, and we should have had a 50 or another one that got called back, but it is what it is. But we won in that vein also. And then we also talk about from, this explosive sacks and stuff like that. We wish we could have been a little bit better, but still, I mean, we tied with them, but we realistically had more when we talk about the ones that got called back from TJ Watt. So that was my thing, man. I just thought we won in all the critical areas. And that's what you needed to see out there, man. So shout out, man. But shout out to the defense, man. Dominant. Shout out to Fields, man. And we'll clean up the penalties. Like I said, man, it's early in the season. First game of the year. You kind of get through, you got to work through some of that type of stuff. But they did what they needed to do today. All right, let's see. Frio J. Shout out to Frio J. Says, I like Justin moving forward. Okay. Hey, man, shout out. I'll say this, man. Justin Fields played well. He did what he needed to do to get the job done today. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to pass the eyeball test and, wow, you make you jump out your seat. But let's be real. I bet you jumped out your seat every single time he hit a deep pass to GP, right? We need that. It looked good. And that's what we want to see more of, and we will get more of that. But it also takes time, and it takes everybody being on the same page and having a full week to prepare for that quarterback. Now, I think that with Coach Tomlin, he's still going to roll back with Russ if Russ is healthy. But we'll see, man, because, the longer Russ sits, the longer Russ isn't available, the more of an opportunity it presents for Justin Fields. And now it's different because we're not talking about preseason games where it's, a couple of drives here, maybe 2 quarters there. We're talking about playing 4 quarters. We're not talking about, we got to evaluate him and grade his performance on the curve because of, or on a scale because of their starters play longer. These starters didn't play at all. Nah, it's different when it's the regular season. Regular season, all bets are off. You're seeing him versus the Falcons' best. And he went out there and played a clean game. Was it, 300 plus passing? Nah, but it wasn't needed also. We took care of business and we won this thing, man. And that's what you want to see from the homie Phil. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how Coach Tomlin continues to handle that situation the longer Russ isn't available. It might be a scenario where he says, Russ, sit down for a couple of weeks if we feel like, this is going to be a thing where you're up, down, just for the sense of stability and the preparation. Because if we kind of go through the same process next week where the game plan is for Russ, and now Thursday hits or Friday hits and, all right, you back on the injury report, you pop up, and then Saturday or / Sunday morning, you can't go. Now we're repeating that process. So it might be a scenario where they do allow Russ to sit for a week or two to really get back good from a health standpoint. And for Justin Fields, that just opens up the door for him, gives him even better opportunity. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how that situation continues to play out, man. But shout out to Free OJ, man. In the sense that, that's who you rocking with, baby. I like it. All right. We also got Jeray Smith. Shout out to Jeray Smith joining the upper room. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. All right. Tim Mulhap. Shout out to Tim. He says, hey, Moats. I know it needs film review, but curious on your thoughts on Frazier. Other than the early snap exchanges, thought he was really moving. No, shout out to you, Tim, man. And I see this your 3rd super chat, man. So we appreciate you being a part of the family and contributing to the channel. But yeah, man. Obviously, we know the QB center exchange early on wasn't the best. But yeah, I thought the O-line as a whole played well. So yeah, Frazier was definitely a good. I thought as a whole played well. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch him more specifically. But my general impression of the offensive line today was they won. They did what we needed to do in the run game. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and they protected Fields in the pass game. Fields wasn't hit a lot today. He wasn't under duress a lot today, and that's the thing that I like. Did he get hit? Yes. Did he get sacked? Multiple? Sure. But it wasn't this situation where, he getting sacked 3-4 times in the game. Nah, he got sacked twice. It wasn't that crazy. So in that order, I do feel like, yeah, as a whole, Frazier had to play well because as a whole, that offensive line unit played well. But yeah, I am going to go back and watch him specifically. In fact, my eyes were more so locked on Broderick, Spencer Anderson than anything because obviously with Spencer, this was going to be the first start, or it might be the first start, yeah. And, he's just a young player. And then for me with Broderick, because I wasn't as impressed with what I saw in the preseason, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be improved in the regular season. I thought that both of those guys played well. I thought Broderick was a lot better fundamentally, a lot better with his effort in the regular season in the opener today. And I thought that for Spencer Anderson, he wasn't perfect. I thought that he did allow a little bit of pressure. But to me, he still did a heck of a job, man, in terms of starting in place of the injured Isaac Seumalo. And, yeah, he didn't allow Grady Jarrett to just take over the whole game. Nah, Grady had his plays, but as a whole, Spencer did what he needed to do. So shout out to all of those guys. But, yeah, Zach Frazier included, man, I thought did a good job. Yeah, X Concepts. This win is definitely Tomlin's fault, man. I definitely blame it on Tomlin, Mike Clayton. I'm with you, man. It's definitely Coach Tomlin's fault, man. It's one of them Tomlin wins. Oh my God, I can't stand a Tomlin win. Oh, jeez Louise. Hey man, if y'all can't stand a Tomlin win the same way I can't stand a Tomlin win, hit that like button there, man. Oh, shout out to these Tomlin wins, man. Jeez Louise, just go on the road. Take care of business. Oh my God. Win 18-10. Oh my gosh. Tomlin wins. Mike Hood also pulling up, showing some more love. Says, I think we also played against a good defense today. No, I would agree, man. The Falcons, you can see they're a well-coached team, man. Shout out to Raheem Morris and Raheem Moore. And I also thought that when you're looking at, just the Falcons as a whole, thought that their pass rush was a little bit better. The two guys that they made plays. I still think they need more production in that element. But I thought their linebackers flew around. Their secondary is a good secondary. I thought that GP just was the outlier, right? Because nobody else really made a ton of noise for us from a passing game perspective. Move had some catches, but it wasn't anything explosive, right? They kept a lid on everything. The person that flipped the field for, us was GP. And that's the guy that we were banking on being the mismatch or the matchup outlier. And that's kind of what we need. So when I see that, I'm like, yeah, this is a good team. This is a good defense, man, because we weren't just moving up and down the field. Like, we had success, but to me, GP was the cheat code, so to speak, man. But that's what you want, man. Shout out to the Falcons for that. And for them, they're talking to AJ Terrell the same way we would be talking to JPJ, right? When we see training camp footage and we're like, dang, GP done went up top on JPJ. Oh, man, like, this is crazy. It's like, all right, nah, that don't mean JPJ bad. That just means GP is like that. So to see him continuing to do that for another year in stadium, that's what you want to see, man. Ethan Leach. Shout out to Ethan Leach. He says, Boss heard Deke talking. Facts. Promise you, man. Because Deke be disrespectful, man, talking about the homie Boz, man. Or his infatuation with the homie Matthew Wright, all right? But I'm team Boz through and through. I done seen the whole story, man. Boz walked through that door right when we were at our lowest of lows. And ever since, man, the dog been rose to the mountaintop. Shout out to the homie, man. Shout out to the homie. All right, Thad C said, the O-line looks solid. Moats, am I crazy? Nah, baby, you was right. O-line looked good today, man. I thought they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Man, when you talk about the circumstances that they had, rookie center, second-year player, right tackle, first start ever type dude for Spencer Anderson. I don't know if it's first start ever, but, he don't have a lot. I think it might have been his first one. Yeah. Starting in place of one of your, best offensive linemen in terms of Isaac Seumalo. So, absolutely, man. I thought those guys did a heck of a job, man. 2 sacks allowed. Fields was not hit a ton today. Running game had room. Yeah, shout out to the O-line, baby. Shout out to the O-line. Xavier TG says, I think Justin Fields looked like QB1. Russ starts, we lose. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the simplicity of your correlation. Oh, if Russ starts, we lose because Justin Fields is like QB1. Nah, I think if Russ was out there, we could have still won as well. One of the criticisms or one of the things that people praise Russ for is his ability to score touchdowns and his ability to score a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. You look at what he was able to do last year in Denver. He scored a ton of touchdowns in the red zone. One of the criticisms that are going to be surrounding our offense today is the lack of touchdowns scored, even though we did move the ball well enough at times. We said 6 scoring drives, but not 6 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns or even 1 touchdown. That's a little bit of the criticism right now. So with Russ, we don't know that, right? With Russ, maybe you're scoring 3 out of the 6. Maybe you're scoring 4 out of the 6, and now it's a totally different ball game. It's a totally different feel and flow to what we're even talking about right now. So that's why I'm just saying, man, we can't say one way or the other what could have happened or would not have happened with Russ. It's just, man, Russ was hurt. But that's why when I look at Justin Fields, I'm like, man, you did a heck of a job with this short term, man. You're not the starter. Oh, now you are going to start. Go out here and play. That's not easy to do and do it on the road. So shout out to Justin Fields, take care of business, man. But for both of those dudes, man, this is what we brought him here for. We wanted to make sure our quarterback room was better, right? We said a year ago when the conversation was, all right, it's Kenny Pickett. Now it ain't Kenny, it's Mitch. And then eventually went to Mason. It's like, yeah, that felt a lot different this year when it was, okay, it's Russ. No, now Russ can't go. Okay, it's Justin Fields. And I thought that the play out there was appropriate and looked like that. So shout out to Justin Fields, man. Shout out to Russ as well, though, baby. And shout out to Arthur Smith, man. The additions, man. Shout out to the additions. But you know what? Shout out to Russ also. Let's talk about this too, man. We obviously know a year ago, we had a scenario where our starting quarterback wasn't available to play. And with that, we know that he did not even want to sit out there, right? Didn't want to be dressed, stuff like that. It wasn't the best scenario. You look at Russ today, man. Russ in uniform out that thing, like, yo, locked in, talking, communicating, just spreading love. And that's what you want to see, man. When you talk about team captains, when you talk about leaders of your team, that's what you want to see. And to me, man, I thought that Russ did a good job of just showing that from the sidelines perspective, man. So shout out to him. We don't take that for granted, all right? We do not take that for granted because we do know that not every quarterback does that. All right. We'll just leave that at that. All right. O'Shea Barton. Shout out to O'Shea Barton. All right. Says Justin Fields would have had 210 passing yards and TJ Watt would have had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles without the refs. And I do agree with you on that, man. And it would have looked a lot better. The game would have been a lot, I think, more spread out in terms of the victory margin. But as a whole, referees do what they do. Some calls are going to go for you. Some calls are going to be against you. Some calls we're going to like. Some calls not so much. I get it. I promise you I do, man. But the one thing that I always believe, regardless of a bad call here or there, the better team will prevail. Now, we know there are some outlier situations. Oh, this bad call took place on the final play of the game. Yeah, I get it. That's different. But in terms of what was going on today, I thought today was just common referee stuff. You're going to get some calls that go your way that you like, some calls that don't go your way that you don't like. I could make cases for multiples on both sides, man, to make the argument for or against. But I thought that the game flow was right. I thought that the ending was right. And ultimately, the team that was the better team for 4 quarters got out of there with that victory as well, man. So shout out to the offense, man. Shout out to the defense and special teams, baby. AJ Martinez. Shout out to the homie AJ Martinez, man. Always a ball when you in here with us, man. He says, welcome to the land of Boz. Hey, man, the Wizard of Boz don't play, man. You heard him. The man don't play. He'll kick your field goals in and go out there and punt that thing. Shout out, man. Shout out. Like I said, man, definitely was digging what Boz was doing today, man. Rashawn Jones. Rashawn Jones showing some love, man. This is 10th super chat, man. Since rocking with the channel, man. So salute you for that, man. We definitely appreciate you, Rashawn. Definitely from the heart. He says, love the Moats and the chat. He says, Justin Fields had a good game and showed he can win for us even when things aren't necessarily going well. Very optimistic when Russ comes back. Shows Justin Fields he can lead us to victories. Absolutely. It definitely does, man. I think you were spot on with everything you said right there, Rashawn. Working in reverse order. In terms of Justin Fields showing that he can lead the Steelers victory. Yeah. And not just lead us to victory when it's easy, when it's pretty and you're blowing the team out. Can you lead us to victory when it's ugly? When we got to just get field goals. When we got to just say, hey, do not turn the ball over, get us out the stadium. Make some plays, though. Right? Because that wasn't just bare minimum game manager, backup quarterback stuff. Nah, Fields had some splash. Fields had some plays where it was like, all right, that works. Okay, that looks good. We want a little bit more consistency. But once again, this is a dude, they got the start nod 48 hours before the game's about to happen. That's extremely short notice when you're talking about professionals, right? This isn't college, this isn't high school. This is the highest of the highs, man. So from a skill standpoint, yeah, he has the talent, but preparation from a mental standpoint, those are very different, man. You need reps. You need this thing kind of tailored for you at that position. So he didn't get that, but he still went out there and made it work because you don't get that excuse when you're the backup. And that's the one thing that I would say, man, I felt really confident in seeing Justin Fields do that. So yeah, we do know he can lead us to victory because he's shown it now. Of course, we're optimistic about when Russ comes back. I know I still am because Russ scores touchdowns. That's what Russ does. And we want to score more touchdowns. Russ also protects the football. We know that's what he does at a very high level, man. So to me, those are two areas that with Justin Fields, we still looking to see more consistency from. But I feel like for right now, man, we feel very confident what Justin Fields can do in the sense of what he just did in his stadium to get us out of there. But to me, man, I'm just like, yeah, we're going to see, man, because Russ typically gives you more touchdowns. Or at least that's what his resume has reflected. Let's see. Black and Yellow, Texas. Stay Black and Yellow, Texas still. We live, baby. Come on now. And he says, TJ, getting off the block like he got a 9 to 5. Hashtag 3 sacks. Now, he should have had 3 of them things, man. There and multiple forced fumbles, man. You know this is a TJ Watt type of game, man. But the referees was hating on him a little bit. You know how it be as well, man. But to me, yeah, TJ was definitely balling like the rent was due, man. You know what time it is, man. So shout out to the homie. If y'all was digging the homie TJ Watt's performance out there today, hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel, baby. AJ Martinez also showing a little bit of love. He says, I'm a 22 guy, but he looked like, not the best today. Now, I get what you're implying, but I think that Nas looked good today. I think he just doesn't have a sexy type of game. But I don't think you got to be sexy always in that position. I think the physicality can definitely work. I think that, like, I'm going to fight in the phone booth type approach, it works. And that's Naji's game. We needed that early on, man, when we couldn't have the explosive plays, man. We needed that guy that could kind of be the battering ram and kind of make it more of a physical battle early on. And Naji, that's the name of his game. And I thought that he ran the ball really well today. So that's my only thing, man. So shout out to Naj, man. Shout out to Naj, all right? Let's see. Asur MK. Shout out to Asur. He says, Moats, you did say we would have a weird score. 18-10. Shout out to the weird score predictors out here, man. I wish I would have picked it as 18-10. I wasn't that good. My score is ultimately 23-18. I had the 18-point right part, but I knew it was gonna be weird though. I knew it was gonna be one of them like funky, not the most scoring. I thought we were gonna get a touchdown one of them parts, but I also thought that it was gonna be Russ out there when I made this prediction. All right, so it is what it is. But either way, we got the dub. We got the job done, man. AJ Martinez also says, shout out to me, number 55. Well, wait, man, shout out to you too, man. AJ, man, I appreciate you, man, from the heart, baby. All right. Like I said, I needed victories, man. All my squads won too, man. Was down at the JMU game yesterday. Go Dukes. They took care of business, man. My baby girl had her college tour, touring the campus of JMU this weekend. That was a vibe, so she won. Salute to her. Seen the black and gold take care of business. And the other school, the other team, that Buffalo Bills squad, they took care of business too, man. So you know what, man? We won across the board today, man. I like it. So we need it. And the Browns are losing. Shout out to the Browns losing to who? The Cowboys. Come on, man. It's cross, but big smiles. All right, Malvo does it. He says, Moats, he ain't Geno. And you know it. No, don't do me like that, man. I think Geno's game and Justin Fields' game are two very different approaches. I think Geno definitely presents a little bit of a higher floor, per se, in terms of just overall quarterback play. He's more of like I'm going to protect the ball, I'm going to get it out on time type thing. But at the same time, I think Justin Fields has way higher of a ceiling in the sense of his ability with his arm and the legs element of it. That's why Justin Fields was, drafted where he was drafted. And that's why we are very excited about him if he can keep developing. Because we could see, even in this game, some of the talent, man, some of the traits on display. Like I said, that play before halftime, man. Running this way, get everybody to really believe it, because you can actually run this thing and take off, but then stop, reset, and rocket this thing down the grass, the opposite side of the field. Yeah, baby, that's impressive, man. I personally think they just need another weapon out there. I'm like, yeah, we had another weapon. I think it makes it a little bit more easier on you, but we'll see, man. Take care of business. Do what you do with who you have here, man. It is what it is. But that's my only thing, man. Like, I just think with Geno, it's just a certain floor with his game, but he's also not going to give you that high end, I could really explode with my arm, or I could run and explode with my legs. Think about how shocked all of us were a year ago when we saw Geno run for like 20 yards in the game. We were like, bro, Geno really took off. Like, whoa, what's that? Whereas Justin Fields would have scored. Like, you know what I mean? But shout out to him, though. Shout out to the homie. All right. And then we got the homie David Dupree, a.k.a. DD Smalls. Shout out, showing love, man. He says, tomorrow is the 600th episode of the Art the Most Experience with Deek. Let's go. Now, don't be jinxing it, man. We were supposed to have this 600th episode, like, last show. Last podcast with the homie Deek was, he bumped us back with the under the weather and had us going virtual, man. So, yeah, hopefully if everything is right and goes according to plan, man, the homie Deek will be back in the building, man. We get that 600th episode, man. And we'll be doing it on Victory Monday. You love Victory Mondays, baby. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But to me, man, this is what we needed to do. Find a way to win. Good teams win ugly games. Good teams find a way to win on the road. Good teams find ways to win when the variables aren't the best, when things aren't always in your favor. The calls aren't always going your way. You don't have every player that you want out there, right? Oh, man, you lose this guy as well. He kind of gets hurt. Oh, all right. Doesn't matter. Find a way. Find a way to win, man. And that's what took place today, man. Shout out to the homies, man, for taking care of business. Now let me see with the congregation, man. What I got going on? We talking about? Oh man, we still talking about the? Oh, they talking about trading Highsmith for DK Metcalf. Wowzers! All right. Okay. What's going on? Oh, they not y'all ain't feeling Highsmith right now. Overpaid? No, man. Highsmith's going against a heck of a player, man. Jake Mathis is a good player in this league, man. He's been playing this league for a long time. And yeah, he did a good job today. Now, Highsmith still has some pressure. It wasn't the most, but he still, he made a little bit. Now, yeah, I know how I feel about DK Metcalf. I don't care. Go get DK if you get DK. I just don't know if DK is available. I don't think that's going to be available to us, man. But yeah, he would be fire out there. Yeah, because my thing is like, yo, Highsmith, if we're not getting a DK Metcalf type, we know we're not doing a Brandon Ayuk deal. That thing's done. It's like, yeah, I'd rather have Highsmith, man, because Highsmith, when he's going against the guy next week, yeah, we'll see. All right, don't think it's gonna be quiet. Don't think it's gonna be quiet all season. I promise you that. No, not at all, man. He said Jake Matthews is a good player though. So shout out to Jake, man. Jake been doing it, like I said, for a long time, man. But Highsmith, yeah, he gonna be fine, man. He gonna be extra productive like he always is. And I like Nick Herbig too, man. But at the same time, I don't want to just throw Nick Herbig out there right away. You know, he gonna build up into it. He gonna get his opportunities. He was playing out there though, man. I thought that it was good to see him, Peyton Wilson, Benny Bishop, the young guys out there, man, getting some quality snaps, man, and being a part of this thing, man, early on, because we're gonna need all three of those guys at various points this season. So like I said, man, I like what we got though, man. I think the outside linebacker rotation is perfect though, man. We don't gotta mess with that just yet, man. Don't mess with that. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, Tito Good vibes rocking with the depth. He likes the depth as well. And Mike Hood noticed that they had Nick Herbig and TJ Watt on the same side. Yeah, they did have some packages where you could see all three of those dudes out there together. And that's what we, think is appropriate based off of how Herbig played this preseason. I think that that's only going to continue to grow and get better and get more and get expanded a little bit more as the season progresses and we get a little bit more comfortable, man. But to me, I think, man, you can never have enough pass rushers. And to get rid of one just because, I don't think that's a good situation. I think that you put a lot more stress on that unit because we know we could feel it in this game. When the pass rush was not where it was, when the pass rush was not as productive as we would have liked on certain plays, that was when Kirk Cousins was able to kind of take advantage on the football. When the pass rush was what it was supposed to be, that's when you saw Kirk struggle. You saw the turnovers. You saw him look uncomfortable. And that's what we have to rely upon. And that's what, I think we're capable of doing and doing consistently. But we still have to have the horses in, keep those guys fresh. So that's another reason why I'm not big on, trying to move from or trying to trade Highsmith unless it's a DK Metcalf, because that's an extreme scenario to me. I think that DK is a heck of a player and will be a massive upgrade to our offense. But if it's not that type of player, it's like, yeah, man, we're wasting time, man. I'd rather keep Highsmith, man. Absolutely. And yes, Steelers Road Warrior Deke is definitely gonna love the fact that my man Kirk Cousins, they play well. I mean, it was a Kirk Cousins game. Kirk looked like Kirk, but Kirk also looked rusty, like he hasn't done, anything except rehab from the Achilles, and he was also on a new team. That's also what it looked like to me, man. I thought that they needed another receiver over there that was, just a little bit more robust and prolific than Drake London and Ray McLeod. That was my thing. I'm like, yo, you don't got enough. But he also didn't look all the way healthy, man. Obviously, I think they pointed it on the broadcast, but it was like, yo, you're constantly in the pistol formation. You're never in the pistol. You're under center QB, like just awkward, man. But yeah, shout out to Kirk though, man. That was a Kirk game. You know how Kirk gonna do? Defense take advantage of it. Catch the ones he throws to you, man. Catch the ones he throws to you. Shout out to Kirko, though, man. And yes, Asor MK. My man Peyton Wilson definitely was out there making plays, man. Definitely like what I saw from the homie right there. Like I said, he's only going to continue to get better. Not only was he making plays on defense, he also made plays on special teams. They matter, man. He had a heck of a job, but I think it was on punt coverage, man. Hit my man right in the face. Boom! So definitely like that, man. Definitely. Let's see. And yeah, Luke Nessie, I do agree. I think if Justin Fields does get the opportunity to have QB1 reps this week in practice, and the game plan is geared towards him throughout the whole week, I do think he'll play a lot better going into this next game. But we obviously got to see what they do with Russ, man, in terms of the calf. What's going on with it? How injured is it? Is this okay, it was popping up at the end of the week, so that's why you don't play this week? Or is it something where they say, hey, we want to let you sit for 2 weeks, give you enough time to kind of get it back? Like, I don't know, because this was, very late in the week when it happened. And even, Justin Fields getting the start nod was kind of late in the week, man. So I think with all of that, we all just kind of got to wait and see and hear what Coach Tomlin say, I think Tuesday when he talks, to kind of give us the update on this here scenario with my man Russ and this here calf muscle. Like, yeah, what's going on with your calf, bro? All because you pushing the sled on the conditioning test. Shout out, man. Shout out. But no, man, I like it. Okay. And Nate, we got Nate Twixbury. All right, I'm gonna end it with this one, man. The homie Nate says, Moats, don't you like the way the offense can be so multiple with the personnel and formations, like using 84 in the slot or on the wing, 12, 13 heavy personnel, 19 with the jet motion, and the H-back being Connor Hayward? Yeah, I would agree, man. That was one of my notes and one of the things that I kind of led off with when we're talking about Arthur Smith. The 14 personnel that he used on the, I think it was 3rd and 1 that we had in the red zone, man. Ultimately, you coming out there, I think it was Jalen Warren on the field, Michael Pruitt, Connor Hayward, Pat Freiermuth, and Darnell Washington. We started off one back in the backfield, like we're about to run this thing in a heavily condensed formation. Then, pre-snap shift, disperse this thing to empty formation. I'm like, whoa, this is what you want. Now you're making the Falcons have a big body personnel group who was thinking run, now have to disperse and play in space one-on-one. That's what we should be able to thrive with. That's the thing that I think we would have an advantage in a lot of these games because of our ability to have bigger athletes. That's where we invested draft pick wise and free agency conversation wise, man. So to me, man, it's just good to see that Arthur Smith felt comfortable doing that and making that defense have to communicate. When you start doing all these different, we start having to do all these different formations and adjustments, it makes you have to talk defensively. And if you are wrong for just 1 second, if you're wrong on this call, or man, we don't get the communication right where it needs to be, now, this team is going to be, more likely having a blown coverage out there. Shout out though, man. Shout out. I'm looking at this Cowboys game, man. I'm watching them get after the Browns, man. I love to see that, baby. So shout out to the Browns looking like the Browns. Shout out to Zeke low key, man. Zeke, like he turned back the clock a little bit today, man. All right, shout out. Yeah, Chris A's. Yeah, man. Zeke back in Dallas. I don't know, man. It just looked kind of right, bro. It just looked kind of right. I'm like, all right, jeez. Yeah, Mike Hood seen it too. He said, yo, man, black and yellow. I'm like, yo, I'm over here talking. I'm like, bro, y'all watching Zeke? I'm watching Zeke. I don't know if y'all watching Zeke. Zeke looking all right now, man. Yes, Alex, all good. Yeah, he just scored, man. 14-3 Dallas right now, man. I was like, ooh, all right. But anywho, man. But like I said, man, as a whole, though, those are, like I said, my instant thoughts, man, on this game. Obviously, we can go, we'll check this tape out and everything like that. But shout out to the good guys winning, man. So that will do it for today's stream, man. But like I said, this is how we're going to get it in, man. After the game, we'll rock out, talk, have a little reaction, have some fun with it. But like I said, man, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, hit it, like button, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. But either way, y'all stay safe out there. And you already know, man, we'll be up here tomorrow. Podcast episode 600. Can't wait. But until next time, baby, Peace.